those things they mean now. Konate was smart. You know, throw in hand. You know, push up. You know, push up. It shove up. With inside so that be only saving grace. But I mean, I still think it was strong enough. Yes, I still think it was strong enough to be a foul. But I get why the referee, if you won't go by that application now, you go feel get respite.
We go feel start.
What are we waiting for?
Fence. We wait.
You start the podcast already.
You start the record already.
Guys, all right, welcome back to Mallam Goal Podcast with the guys. Yeah. It's Ghana month officially, so you can see, guys, I'm dressed like a northern king that I am. A king with no money. It doesn't matter anyway. So, happy Independence Day. On the day we are recording this, it's Ghana's independence. 68 years of freedom. Of potential freedom.
Of what? I heard what you said.
I said freedom.
Let's talk something again.
Ghana, the land of freedom. The guys are here. Achu is here. Danike, your shirt the view.
Yeah. Oh,
who they give you?
Someone family.
I knew you know buy or know so. I know this guy.
No, but I don't buy him.
Sisho, your shorts are short. This is the proper definition of shorts.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Sexy shorts.
No, it's called medu.
Yeah,
Medu.
That's how you call it.
Yes, in Kumasi, this shorts originated from Kumasi. You got tech, so everything is connected. I don't know.
What do you mean by it originated from Kumasi?
Champ.
You got to know of it in Kumasi or it originated from Kumasi.
How they go nickname and Medu if you know from Kumasi?
Oh, no. So the shorts.
If the shorts from Ho, who go nickname and Medu for who?
Relax. Calm. Are you calm?
I'm
Can
calm.
you continue?
I'm calm.
Thank you for the time.
What did you answer? Where are you?
I go Akple Festival for the Jolly inside. I go past you. From 11, they do it from 11 a.m. to 12 a.m.
Do festival just for Apple.
For Jolu.
Yeah.
Where you don't tell anybody.
Oh no, I know plans are to go. That boy I know. Like I thought about making before they camp. So then me, I enter town. My bro called me, so we did. We also make a part. So I don't spend more than an answer for them. Because now they come here.
But you chop.
We have it.
Okay,
it's okay. Relax.
You
Relax.
You understand what he said? He chopped that thing because I don't be small.
We have guys, listen. We have a special guest in the house. Making his debut appearance on the podcast. Drum roll. Hold on. That's Colombia picture.
No, 20th century.
20th century. That's true. I mean is the host of United and Everything podcast.
Yes.
Everything football podcast. United and Everything football podcast. You can check them out as well. We'll put the.
They say they are suffering.
George, add the link to his podcast in the description. Thank you. When you are posting the video. Okay. I mean. What's happening? You tall,
Charlie.
You are the tallest person we've had on the podcast.
That's what
That's
what they say.
6'5".
That's what they say.
I mean, it's not 6'5".
He's 6'5".
6'4".
I almost got you.
Oh, you're
not 6'5". You're bad with numbers.
These days, I'm getting.
You were pre-tech student and you are still.
How is it bad?
6'5" and somebody.
How is it bad with numbers?
And I thought it says 4. You say the person is bad.
How is it?
How do you
What's the
guess,
difference?
How do you guess height?
Approximation.
And by.
Then you can do vocational skills for secondary school, so I forgive you.
So if for you to predict everybody
height.
No, you do vocational skills,
so
which means that it's not his fault, so it's okay.
Wait, what's my view? Height.
No, vocational skills.
No.
Cooking,
what is
weaving, textiles, washing dishes. It's sewing.
Now the sewing you know the measure.
Yeah,
so you know the measure.
Textiles for measure.
You do pre-technical skills, right?
Yes.
Oh, it's pre-tech, right? That's what the subject was called.
Yes.
Why do they call it pre-tech?
The sewing wasn't part of pre-tech.
No. It's different. I've moved on from so.
Okay.
I say you did pre-tech.
Yes.
Why do they call it pre-tech? Why
It's
I don't know why pre-tech, not tech.
It's the elementary skills. It's the basic.
No, the JSS course.
Yes.
Was
Yes.
not pre-tech.
It is pre-technical skills for people who normally would go on and do technical studies. So those who go to SECTEX, secondary technicals, like
basics for that.
technical skills is your basis, like your basic requirements.
So I think that then that one they're probably teaching you like the names of the tools.
Yes,
that's what it is.
drawing to
Yes.
Yes.
So if you are drawing, it's not pre-tech. It's
No,
tech.
it's basic.
It's tech.
No, it's basic.
So if you go to
Later-
where you want to construct a table,
Let me ask you a question.
No.
If you go to driving school
Eh,
and the person who's in the driving school is driving, does that mean that the person is a qualified driver to drive a license?
no.
Yes.
But
So the fact that you are driving with pre-tech doesn't mean that
you see,
it's technical. Yes.
But no. You see that scenario
Yes.
doesn't apply. The
How?
one that would technically apply is you look at all the other subjects that you go on to study in secondary school. None of them is named pre-anything. And yet only technical is named pre-technical.
No, because
and your explanation is that it prepares you to go and do technical.
It doesn't nullify the fact that it is still
No, but even in
preparatory.
elementary
It's
school,
not the same for
Hang on.
English language.
no, hang on. In elementary
or maths.
school, no, hang on. In elementary school, there's basic English, basic mathematics,
And
basic
just
science.
those ones.
Because
JSS, no, your friend is saying.
it's
English language. Secondary school, English language.
Friends, listen.
But
in basic school,
because
school,
you've done it already in basic school.
yes, in basic
So when
school,
you come
there's
to
JHS. It is no more.
It is
It's
no
general
more
So you are
science.
saying that
or
JSS,
mathematics.
we don't do anything.
No, that's your first introduction.
That's the first-
That's the first introduction to the
Primary,
subject.
we do drawing.
Oh,
in lower primary.
But that's not
introduced to basic
that's
science.
not drawing.
That's not
That's not
technical.
technical drawing. That's
So,
art.
so you are saying that.
That's why
it's
they
a-
call it creative art.
Okay, good. What is a table? If I draw a table, it will be what?
It's a table.
So is that technical drawing or artistic drawing?
It could be artistic, not technical drawing.
That-
Technical
that-
drawing,
that-
technical
that-
drawing will come with proper
that could come
measurements.
under
Guys, forget it.
mathematics.
You'll be fooling at the fool.
So you fluent.
You not be serious.
you know, I know. Say you
I mean, Charlie, what's happening?
I'm good. My team has
Seen in your bread.
Yeah.
something else lately.
Lately.
Shout out to all those who still watch our podcast. I really they do well.
Because your
Who
team is,
still watch?
because the team is shite.
They do well. They do well. We still have some good knowledge, and it shocks me.
But let me give
It really shocks me.
let me tell the truth. Let me tell the truth about team-oriented podcasts. It is more popular when the teams are not doing well.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the team is doing well, nobody really it doesn't fly as much.
You know why?
For example,
You know why? Because it thrives.
So let me finish.
Okay, go on.
For example, right?
AFTV.
Arsenal TV, for example,
It's
got
a
its
draw.
popularity.
It
It got its popularity when the team was not doing well.
Struggling.
Largely because it attracts other fan bases to come and mock it.
Yeah.
But that improves popularity and numbers.
Yeah.
When the team is doing well and I'm not a Mayu fan, I'm not looking for what Mayu fans are boasting about. But when you're not doing well, I'm looking for what you're crying about.
Yeah, so that's why I said I agree with you to an extent.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to an extent because it's partly true, but it's also partly dependent on some factors.
Exactly.
So I say the content. If it's a rant podcast,
Yes.
Yeah.
like AFTV,
Yeah.
it is when they lose that the rants get to the levels that really get to troll levels.
Yeah.
But if it's an analytical podcast, okay,
Yeah.
when you win,
Yeah.
think about yourself.
Exactly.
No, put yourself into example.
Mhm.
When your team wins, you want to read every article, see the way you did it. You want to watch every
That's
analysis
spot-
to see
you are
how
spot
the
on.
team did it. So I think what you're saying is true. But I think it's also
Context
determined by
based.
the content direction of the
I would still go with what Sicho just said because when the team is doing well, all of the conversations that you say we will be interested in, it is relevant to those who support that team. So maybe for the purpose of education, you have a few outliers, like another person who is into podcasts, so maybe he's a Liverpool fan, but that podcast will discuss Man United, so he would read material about it. But that's a very small bracket, say maybe journalists or pundits, that kind of thing. But the average football fan, I mean, during Arsenal's banter era, all of us, whether you liked it or not, you chanced on that material. You chanced on that material at some point.
But it was over
Yeah.
briefly.
No,
In United's banter era today,
you're right.
everybody else looks out for the things Man United fans will tweet, the things they would say. Generally, United content is in vogue because you go get laugh them.
Yeah, but I also say
Exactly.
that just before you come in, I also say that what you said is true about opposition fans going in their numbers to go and mock, to go and laugh, to go and. But I also think that is also negated by the sheer number of the actual team fans that will not go and watch that because they've lost.
True.
Use yourself as an example.
That's true.
Every time your team loses, in fact, you're not in the mood to go and watch it. Like you're not interested.
That's true.
It happens.
Actually, I am.
Okay.
Because
for me, like, it's a lot. If Chelsea loses, I don't want you to tell me how they lost.
No, hang on. So
how bad it is.
So there are two things. There are things that are for fans. There are things that are for people in
Yeah.
our
That
space.
are analysts.
Now,
yes.
if you're in our space, you rarely
Yes.
You probably know why the team is losing.
Yeah.
And you're probably stuck in that way.
Yes.
Right? Until something interesting pops up and you want to hear other opinions. For the average fan who is not delving deep into the game as you would, that fan is looking for every reason why the team is not doing
yeah.
well.
Exactly.
And so that fan is
And there are information junkies as well.
Exactly.
That fan is looking for all the
All
opinions
kinds
of people
things. Yeah.
to know where they can
I
handle.
think,
So
like I said, I think
it's
it's
a big,
true. Either
yeah.
So basically, the argument supports the other side of the things that you spoke about. So, for instance, when the team is doing well, our highest numbers have come when United have had a big win. Exactly. Example against City.
Arsenal.
What happened? We want to hear exactly why or what happened. Because our podcast is more directed to being more analytical and breaking it down. People would want to come.
Yeah.
Now, it is mostly watched by true United fans, right? Who have perhaps discovered that, okay, the guys on this podcast, all of you have been on it, are all you are all pundits on the podcast. Fenty only comes on when it's a game against Chelsea. He will just come and, do this thing.
Has
Yeah.
he come to take beef with me on my own?
I'm just saying. But basically, that's how it is. So shout outs to those who have still been coming, because it's not easy. Because let me confess, I've not watched any United content anywhere, even mine.
It's
After
depressing.
we are done recording, right? And our editors are
don't
done,
want to watch
I
back.
don't watch it again.
Oh God. Anyway, guys, Betway is now on. We now have a Telegram channel as well. Yeah. So, Sultan, George will put the description, the links to the channels in the description. Do join the official Ghana official Betway Telegram account, and then we'll take it from there. Ghana, the land of freedom. Toils of the brave.
Oh, sexy. Oh, sexy. Oh, sexy.
While we are recording the podcast, United are playing.
Sexy.
James
sexy.
squad. I didn't celebrate.
Oh,
Sexy
sexy.
squad.
Who's Rhys James? Who is Rhys James?
Guys, listen to this. So now you guys understand why Kwame came here and immediately took a shot at me. That is because on this podcast, and see, there were times when they accused me of only speaking when it's Chelsea. And he just did the same thing. You know the reason? It's simple. On the podcast, there are 4 Man United supporters, and only one of them supports a different team. Danica is a United fan. Achu is a United fan. Sicho is a United fan. Sicho is a big United fan. When he's not on the podcast, he doesn't even say Man U anymore. He says we. Our.
You didn't lie.
That is how he speaks. I'm telling
Everybody
you.
watching knows say you didn't lie.
He's the
Everybody knows
biggest
say
Man United
my
fan.
team become the Heart of Lions. You didn't lie. You didn't lie. Liar.
Hey guys, I have told you people many times. Philip, Sitofe, Philip, actually.
People watching, some of them to say that I'm a Real Madrid fan. Every time
No. There's no confusion. Sicho is a United fan who is fascinated by the competencies of Real Madrid. Nothing wrong with that.
And Slot too.
And Slot too. That's it. Exactly. That's it.
But
he loves Slot and he just loves the aura of Real Madrid. That's it. But the team he's a fan of. From JSS primary school to secondary school. And I've known this guy since his tech days.
No, but he can't be a
United fan and a love Slot. It's not possible.
See, if you want evidence of Sicho being a United fan,
Oh, yeah, back
he
in
confessed it. on United and everything.
Oh, he says
So
no.
that was to make the podcast nice.
No, the people
You
just
can't go to somebody's podcast and go and say
the people just need to
It's
read
for the
between the
cameras,
lines.
for the cameras. Sexy. Sexy.
The point is that the guy is just like, he's now nonchalant. Unlike these two, he doesn't care about the teams. Like the disappointment has gotten to him so much that
he's not nonchalant. That's his coping mechanism.
it's his coping mechanism. He's reached a level where he says, "Yeah, I'm fan who's happy."
We have another friend who every time United are playing, he has to remind himself of all the reasons why United are going to lose. He doesn't hate the team. Yes, he doesn't hate the team. He just has to. And you see, everything he says, you know it. You know it's true.
Yeah.
You don't like the fact that another person is seeing it, but that's his coping mechanism.
Speaking of which, listen, Sicho, you were very confident that Real Madrid, your favorite team in the Champions League, were going to beat Atletico Madrid, and they did. They had to dig deep, to be fair. Scored first, then the equalizer came in. What a goal from Alvarez, man!
We are two more at wonder.
But they found the winner, Raheem Diaz. I mean, how did Atletico make it so difficult? Look, I said, was it on Monday on the show that I thought that Atletico were the team that was capable of knocking Real Madrid out? It's almost because of the history between the two teams. They don't fear them. And all of the time they've met in the Champions League, it was Cristiano Ronaldo's doing. Literally. All right? Maybe 2014 final, Ramos header, Ronaldo did score in that game. 2016 final, penalty shooter, Ronaldo scored the winning penalty. And then the hat-trick as well. So every time they've met, Ronaldo has had something to do with their exit. This time he's not there. And they showed enormous grit, enormous fight. They took the fight to Real Madrid. They lost by 2-1, but it was far from a convincing performance from Real. That second leg of have it all to do. How do you think that? What do you make of the way the first leg played out? How it's set up for the second leg?
No, I think Carlo will be happy. Simeone, both managers will be happy that the way the game panned out and the way the game ended, because the game is still alive.
Yes.
And for Atletico Madrid even more, they'll be happier because the game could have been gone. Even though Real Madrid didn't play well, I thought Real Madrid created a better scenario to create more chance. In fact, the last minutes of the game, Kylian Mbappe should have played the better ball to Vinicius, and that would have been the game right there.
He didn't have a great game.
No, he didn't. He and Vinicius had off days. Mbappe even worse. But that is why Real Madrid are special in this competition. Whenever somebody from wherever has to step up, somebody does. Like when they need somebody to step up, the person does it, right? And we saw it in that game. There was no Bellingham. We thought we were going to miss him. And I really thought they were going to miss Dani Ceballos. In fact, they missed him a bit. But others stepped up. Tchouaméni stepped up in that middle of the park for the day. And Brahim Diaz was superb for Real Madrid. Yeah. He was covering spaces, keeping the ball well, linking up play well, getting himself into dangerous positions, and doing a lot of the things that you'd have thought that you needed to bring into the game. Or you'd have thought maybe an Mbappe or Vinicius would do. But when Mbappe and Vinicius had their off days, it was Brahim Diaz who stepped up to do those things. For Atletico Madrid, it was all about keeping the tie alive going into the second leg. And Simeone is that coach. He's pragmatic. He's not stupid. He's not arrogant. His team has been playing very well this season. And another manager would have thought this is the time to go all the way to go to the Bernabeu and show Madrid that they've got what it takes to beat them, blah, blah, blah. But he went there to be very careful. He went there to respect that it was Champions League and it was Real Madrid. And for me, the 3 goals we saw were settled on individual brilliance. Mm-hmm. That Rodrigo goal, even after the brilliant pass from Valverde, he still had a lot to do from there, and he made it look very simple. The Julian Alvarez goal was an impossible goal to score, yet he did. And then Brahim Diaz, tinkle feet, almost slipping and falling, and some way the ball sets for him. The one way like he break your ankles. Yeah, they scored a brilliant goal. So for me, what I liked about Real Madrid as well was that they were off the ball. They were also defending very, very compact. It was a 4-4-2 defensive shape. Brahim Diaz and Rodrigo did a great job with that because they had to become part of the midfielders, and off the ball had to cover the space and block the opportunities for Atletico Madrid to counter, right? And the young man Asensio, when you've got Asensio at the back, you're a lot more comfortable pushing a little hard because you know he's got the pace to be able to recover.
He's really coming to a man of his own this season. I mean, listen, even before you go, we always say that, like, there's this perception that, the new breed of defenders aren't as tough and as intelligent and too soft. This kid is coming and he seems to have it all.
Yeah. There's even a better kid who, but for injury,
And ACL. Yeah.
he would have stepped up and done better than I think he has a better prospect than
Higher ceiling than Asensio.
Asensio. Jacobo. That guy is brilliant, right? And he partnered with him in Castilla. But when Madrid needed somebody from Castilla to fall on, it was Asensio because at that time Jacobo was injured, and they now have to. And Asensio has come into the A team and it's proving that he belongs there.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows if Jacobo would had he stepped up, could have dealt with the pressure and the demands of it. Asensio has done it. Credit to him. He deserves all the credits and the way he's playing. And credit to Carlo Ancelotti as well for trusting him even more. Now, at some point, after he had come into the team, and I thought Ancelotti should have trusted him more, he went back to play Tchouaméni in centre back, dropping Asensio. But now I think he's very certain in his mind that guy is a proper centre back. It is probably his number 2 choice after Rudiger in that, because over the weekend he rested him
Yeah.
for this game. Because
So
he played
it's a
Alaba.
sign, yeah.
It's a sign that this guy is now become. He played against City, he was brilliant, and he's played in this game, he's brilliant. So yeah, credit to him. But ultimately, it's a game that I thought that Atletico Madrid would be happy, and Real Madrid would also be okay. But Ancelotti would have felt that his team could have killed the tie with a couple of scenarios that they got in the game. But in the end, it still leaves all football fans happy because we've got a great game to come in at the Metropolitano.
Chasam, you're a big Madrid fan as well. Do you think that possibly this season, given the kind of season that Atletico are having, that this might be the one time that they have a really good chance of knocking out Real Madrid? Like Sicho said, its tie is still very much alive. And Atletico have shown this season that they have enormous great. I think, was it last weekend against Bilbao that a video emerged of Simeone celebrating that
Gallagher tackle.
You know, he seemed to have, I mean, it's a typical Simeone team, but have they got it in them?
They have it in them, but I'm not sure if the manager has it.
In him?
Yes, because
I'll come for you.
there's one thing the Champions League requires, and there's the one thing the Champions League abhors. It needs a certain level of risk taking.
Okay.
No matter how pragmatic you are, there are going to be games that will be there for the taking. There are going to be games where you need to back yourself, even when it seems lost, even when it doesn't look like you have a chance in that game. And if you go through the history of all the fairy tale teams that have gone on to win it, especially for the first timers, there's always that moment where everyone thought, and especially against the true European royalty, the clubs with the 5 badges, and the assumption is that you are at that point where you have no right to believe in yourself. So be it Chelsea against Bayern, be it Man United against Bayern in 99, be it Liverpool against Milan. There are always moments like that. What you need is a manager who can take themselves out of that situation and play for the results. I felt that there was a point where the game was there for the taking, especially after especially after they restored parity. And I think the reason why, even though generally everyone believes they played better than Madrid, no one is saying the result was unfair.
Did they play better than Real Madrid?
I think they did.
Chicho felt like Madrid got a better chance.
I think Atletico.
I think it was 50-50.
It was a very balanced
I don't
game.
think they
I mean, in terms of
Yes,
possession,
but they weren't inferior.
Actually
But
feel
in
like,
terms of threats,
I think Madrid
even Madrid were
were
even,
closer,
yeah.
So that's what I was
I feel
coming
like
to.
if that game ended in a draw, that would have been a fairer
Yes. So
result.
if you had allowed me to finish, I was going to say that the reason, even for those who believe Atletico were better,
Okay.
no one would say they were unlucky because they rarely threatened.
Yeah.
And that was the problem, because I felt if your game plan is to come here and defend and go away with a respectable scoreline, do it. I'm all for that. I don't mind if you have to put 10 men behind the ball, so long as you limit the chances that your opponent is creating. And I'll talk about that when we get to Liverpool. If that is your objective, to shut up shop and defend, and you can cut out the chances that your opponent is able to create and limit the damage, fair enough. If you want to play high octane football, if you want to play on the front foot, fair enough. If you want to find a balance in between the two issues, but at no point should your team look like they are not exactly clear what they want to do. At a point, you could tell that the game was hanging in the balance, but there was a fear of Real Madrid. There was a fear of Real Madrid. So they had a lot of the ball. There was a period in the second half where, for about 3 minutes, Madrid were not touching the ball. Atletico were just knocking the ball around in the middle of the pitch, and they were not progressing the ball either. And it was strange to see because you don't see this from a Simeone side.
I see.
Keeping the ball in the manner they did in the second half against Real Madrid is not their way of controlling a game.
It's not in their DNA.
It's not that's not them.
Yeah.
So it was a bit odd. That's why I'm saying that does Simeone have it in him to take those risks when necessary? Nobody doubts their capacity.
And now they have to. They have
Yes,
time.
exactly. Nobody doubts their capacity to go toe-to-toe with Real Madrid. Nobody doubts their capacity to go to Anfield and win. They've done it under Jurgen Klopp. And this period is perhaps the best in Liverpool's history in the modern era. They went there, they won. They've done it against Barcelona.
22. Morata, remember that? 2020.
Exactly. So, whatever the question marks are,
At
in
the
terms
time,
of,
even Liverpool were defending champions.
yeah, even Stamford Bridge, they've gone there to win. Whatever the question marks are in terms of 2014, in terms of Simeone going to a big stage and delivering a big performance to win, he's answered all of those. The one thing I haven't seen from him in games like this where you would expect that, or the game is ripe for them to play on the front foot, I haven't really seen that from Simeone's teams. And that is my only concern. But for Real Madrid, look, if there was one game that perhaps is the moment for us to give Rodrigo his flowers, it was this game. It was this game. And I was going...
He was the only one who really
stepped up.
Yeah.
And I was going back to look at his numbers and I was blown away. He's now scored 25 goals in 61 Champions League appearances.
That's crazy.
For someone who is not at the end of the chances that the team creates. And for almost every goal Rodrigo scores, he works it by himself.
That's a goal every 3 matches.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you do goal contributions...
In the Champions League.
That's crazy. And I'm sure if you do goal contributions,
you get more because he
ratio
creates chances as well.
Yeah.
Then he would have assists as well. And for me, my respect has gone up. If you look at the charts of the players who have outperformed him, to put it in that context, from Real Madrid, all of them are all-timers. So you are talking about Paco Gento, Raul, Karim Benzema, Cristiano.
These are legends.
These are legends. So he's on his way there. And for me, I was happy that he had a moment where all of the other big players were on the pitch. Vinicius, Kylian were all there. But he was the one who set the tone for Real Madrid and allowed the team to breathe on a night like that. Because going into this game, I didn't think Real Madrid were favorites for this. Purely because of Atletico's attitude whenever they face Real Madrid.
Favorite for the Champions League against whichever team in the world.
And in the end, the way the game played out confirmed it to me. Atletico's fearlessness and beyond the idea of their confidence and their attitude towards it, they had the method to it. They didn't look out of place. They didn't look inferior.
Yet you don't think that they have it in them?
That's why but I was specific. Context matters. I mentioned that there are moments where the game requires you to be a bit brave.
And you doubt that.
I doubt that because Simeone's nature, he's more conservative.
Okay.
He's risk averse. Or he will take the risk.
Let me ask this question.
Been him since 2 seasons ago.
Yeah. But let me ask this question. Did Atletico Madrid really stop Real Madrid or Real Madrid misfired in the final? There are two things. Atletico Madrid stopping Real Madrid or Real Madrid having the scenarios by misfiring. And I think in this game, Atletico Madrid didn't stop Real Madrid though.
No, they didn't. But I'm just saying that. So I said...
the spaces were there.
No, the spaces were there.
Real Madrid could have won like 5.
The spaces were there.
So Atletico...
I'm telling you,
No, they weren't.
it was so
So
open.
what situation is saying that the Atletico performance was not typical?
No, it wasn't. That's why I'm saying,
And you
I
can
mentioned
say that at some
that
point, yeah.
it was weird to see because typically, if you go out to shut up shop,
The way they kept the ball.
yes, if you go out to shut up shop and defend, Atletico would have defended deeper. The spaces would have been much closer. And so if you go back to the last 2 or 3 games between Madrid and Atletico, Madrid have not had the spaces that they had on Tuesday night. And those were games where Madrid forced the issue more, perhaps played better, right? So this was a very weird performance from Atletico in a sense where till date, I'm not even able to properly rate it and say it was a good or a bad performance because I couldn't really recognize the way they played.
Okay. You're a Simeone fanboy. 2-1. Obviously, no away goal counts now, so that one goal there doesn't count for 2. They still have to win. And I mean, I don't know. Does it look like the year when Simeone can finally do it? If you ask me, I feel like everything is set up for Atletico to progress. They just have to show some balls.
No, remember, the last match day of last year, Champions League match day of last year, remember I said that it was looking really good for Atletico on all fronts.
Yeah.
But to be frank, unfortunately, the draw has been very unfair to them. They got Barcelona in the Copa del Rey semi-final. Barcelona are certainly back in the title race. Now it's a 3-horse race. It means they need to take every game seriously in the league now. And in the Champions League round of 16, they've got Real Madrid. So it's very difficult. On paper, it is, if you look at the games in isolation, I think they are in a very good place. They can go to the Wanda and beat Barcelona in the Copa del Rey. They can go to the Wanda and beat Real Madrid. But specifically with this first leg against Real Madrid, I think actually it's been unfair. Because it's Real Madrid you are facing. It's the first leg of a Champions League. You don't take risks if they are not necessary.
That is stupid.
It's stupid.
It's not knowing your level.
Look, 2 seasons ago, when Man City went to the Bernabeu, on paper we all knew Manchester City were the best team in Europe.
But they went to defend.
But
they respected
themselves because they knew what happened the season before. It's not if it's not necessary, don't take certain risks. Give yourself a good result for when you are in your home and you have control over the situation. So Atletico, I think they were smart about their play. They didn't start too well. Real Madrid got the lead. And then they showed the risk factor. They started coming at Real Madrid with numbers. When they got the equalizer, they started ceding possession, then they balanced. The game was very balanced. It's not like Real Madrid dominated possession and Atletico were just sitting back and defending. Atletico were throwing numbers forward to give Real Madrid the idea or have Real Madrid to have a lot to think about defensively. So then Real Madrid will not necessarily also be throwing bodies forward. So it was like a very smart chess game. And then to be frank, that Diaz goal came out of nothing. It was a moment of individual brilliance and then boom, the ball is in the back of the net. But that's why I respect Simeone because he had the Arsenal on the bench. Some of the substitutions, in fact, they were like for like. He didn't necessarily change too much. Yes, he changed in terms of formation, but in terms of style, they were still very cautious in their approach. And it made sense to me. Why will you throw bodies forward looking to find an equalizer and then Real Madrid hits you 3-1 and the tie is over? With 2-1, you can still go to the Wanda and do something. So then keep it as close as possible. Stay in the game and then go to Wanda and have a chance of... It's simple. I wonder if you win, you have a chance. You're either going to extra time or you've qualified. It just depends on the goal margin. But win, which is very possible for Atletico Madrid. So again, you need to... Look, respect the opposition.
Charlie,
it's not Real Madrid.
And Real Madrid is not a possession-centered team. They won't dominate you possession.
Yes, Ceballos is injured. They have defensive problems.
But it's still Real Madrid.
It's still Real Madrid.
Like,
Charlie, and look, this is a Real Madrid that 2 weeks ago Atletico faced a much weaker Real Madrid, and they were completely outplayed in that game. That was a Real Madrid. Real Madrid didn't have a defender in that game. The whole midfield was struggling. Yet Real Madrid completely played them. Chance upon chance. Bellingham was hitting the bar, missing Clerc. And even in that game, Atletico thought they were on top. They actually came out to play football and they were shocked. And that's a league game. Now, this is a Champions League game at the Bernabeu, the owners of the competition. You don't expect Simeone, on basis of what has happened 2 weeks ago, to go out there and say, he's who? He's only Simeone. This is Real Madrid. He needs to respect them. And I think it was very smart coaching from him. Yes, they lost the game. But again, it is Real Madrid. And the point is, give yourself the best possible chance in the second leg. It's a 2-legged tie. It's not a one-off. If you lose it, there's still hope. But it's better to lose 2-1 than to lose 3-1 or 4-1, which was very possible if Atletico had opened up in those last 10 minutes. So I think it was smart from Simeone.
I actually think Atletico were braver in this performance compared to the league game that you referenced. For the league game, Real Madrid,
and especially in terms of how they controlled possession in certain... if you notice, after the equalizer, and Real Madrid were doing that thing. After Atletico equalized, Real Madrid were gang-ho. They were searching for that second goal even before halftime. They were coming. But when Atletico picked up the ball, that's something I noticed. They were counter-attacking opportunities, what I think you are referring to. But they didn't throw bodies forward. They will rather pass it around. Exactly. They'll pass it around and try and take the steam out of the game because it has happened before. That league game, they were throwing bodies forward and going forward, and the Real Madrid in transition.
So you are saying it was intentional?
It was intentional.
But you think that's not in their DNA? But you think it was
and you see, I'm glad he mentions that specific issue. La Liga match, the game from 2 weeks ago, the two scenarios that Daniel mentions, and I hope he remembers, the two counter scenarios that you're saying it happened and they nearly got punished for it.
In the Champions League game.
What was do you remember the structure of the team back then? You had two players who were out of position and one fullback bombing forward, right? For the first chance. And then for the second chance, he had midfielders all right, but Madrid also had numbers in behind those two players. So just one in the middle, someone who was making a third run from the blind side of, or the opposite side of where the ball was coming. Both cases, they were susceptible to suffering from the counter breaks.
Which happens
Right.
if nobody's forward. It doesn't matter.
I'm saying that in this case, it was different. The two scenarios. The first one that the goal scorer, Julian Alvarez, was making that run on the blind side from the left. Barrios has the ball. How he makes that 360 and decides to just go back again for me clearly was a tactical instruction, because I didn't see, if it's something that Simeone didn't agree with, he will get animated, especially the second time it happened.
But you see,
My issue is that
that scenario we are talking about.
Yes.
Had he given the ball to Alvarez, Alvarez still had a lot to do.
Yes.
So it wasn't guaranteed.
Alvarez had no support.
no,
He
but
won the ball.
And if you remember, the first instance, Alvarez had to run with Asensio. Asensio beat him for
great.
pace. So,
Like no.
why would I give the ball to him again if he's probably going to lose
No,
it?
but he has two options. Giving the ball to Alvarez was not the only option. He could have carried it forward. I'm saying that.
To who?
I'm saying that he could have carried it forward, and then based on the movement on Alvarez and then Asensio, you make a decision.
No.
Because for me,
If
see,
he's a midfielder,
ultimately,
Let me go to Ami.
just to conclude, the reason I'm saying this is that if you don't have the right cover behind you, I'll be the first to say the midfielder has to hold on to the ball. But where there is the option to take the ball forward, and he doesn't, where there is the option to hold on to the ball and then see if there is going to be because
about here.
Barros, I think it was Barros who was.
Now let me
Rodrigo the
the reason-
was also making.
the reason I'm asking about Barrios is that if you're a central midfielder, right, and you've got the ball, and in front of you, you don't have the right options, it is suicidal for you to vacate your position in space
And carry the ball.
and carry the ball. When you know that ahead of you, you can't release the ball. So one of the finest things any midfielder will do will be to find the safest option and keep it tight in his space.
And-
If you're forward,
And
if
the
you're forward
ball was
in the friend
literally in
zone,
line with him.
Actually,
Rodrigo de Paul was running with him.
Actually,
Yes.
for
So
ball
if-
carriers, the one time you are emboldened to move forward, when you, I'm coming. The one time you are, for any midfielder at all, the one time you are emboldened to move the ball forward when you see space is when you are sure that you have cover behind you.
Yes.
He had that.
the
no,
cover.
he's the guy.
No, but I'm saying that in those two instances,
Two things.
In those-
If he moves forward,
yes,
and then Raul de Paul, who was his midfield partner
yes,
alongside
Rodrigo.
Rodrigo de Paul, who's
yes.
his midfield partner alongside him,
Yeah.
has to defend the space that the two of them need to, or one of the three centre backs have to step up. We know Real Madrid. If you lose the ball and one centre back is out of position, it is that.
And Vinicius, Mbappe, and
Spacing and positioning there.
Can Simeone and Atletico do it this time around? Or it's just the same old story? Real Madrid will give you small glimpse of hope, then they'll finish you off.
Real Madrid have showed that they don't really respect stadiums. Whichever stadium that you put them in, they don't really think that they will be fazed by any sort of pressure. And it is one thing that I'm sure Atletico will be weary of. I mean, going into this tie, like the guys have rightly said, they did their best to put themselves in a better position. I mean, try to keep themselves in the game. I mean, when we were watching the game, at some point it looked like the game was locked. It was
The
very
game was going nowhere.
Yes, it was so locked. So out of nothing, that was when Brahim Diaz was able to get that opportunity to score that goal, to give Madrid that opportunity. And that was the mindset of Simeone, trying to ensure that let me try and see if I can get my team in a better position this time around. Let's take it home and let's see how much risk we can take at this point, as Daniel Cranton rightly said. So it has to do with your mindset going into the game, the kind of game plan you want to, because it's a two-legged affair. Now, it being a two-legged affair, you would have to have one strategy, because this is Real Madrid we are talking about.
So we go in the chat with the laugh for them.
You did watch at me.
So the guy they laugh, they come back, they hold the phone. Wait, I'm sorry, chat. Like, you know, in Canada, they enjoy the show. I swear, see, they chat on there, they laugh.
Let me continue. Right, but you look at Atletico this season and they've shown some form. You know, they've lost it since November last year. They had only lost one game going into this.
Leganes.
And that was against Leganes.
Leganes. That one too is this guy's fault. What's his name? Griezmann. He's postponed chances since we get penalty goals for it. Antoine Griezmann, is he?
You don't like him because you don't like him. You don't like him because.
I mean, see, on a level, we all know Griezmann. Griezmann, if he's going to have a poor game, you know it from minute one. He's that kind of player.
If
he's going to have a good,
he has some bad touches here and
that's
there.
it.
Then
It's
you
over.
know that something is
so
about to
sub
happen.
him quick.
You don't like it for some reason. but it tells you how much of an evolution Atletico had gone through because they started the season very poorly, and some way somehow
Debated his sack here at the beginning. Can you imagine? This man mounted a spirited defense. Actually wanted him gone.
But
No, that's not.
but if
No.
you check Simeone's trajectory,
This is not the first time
No, I
I
didn't
wanted
see-
Simeone.
No, listen. If you've checked Simeone's trajectory of sometimes how he starts his season, I mean, it looked so normal. He's always had that. I mean, there's been many times people have had arguments. It's time for Simeone to go.
That one is
It's time
Is
for
he your
Simeone
That's
to
very
go.
true. Very
It's time
true.
it's time for Simeone
But
to
the fans are
go.
not
Simeone
The
has-
fans are not
But
complaining.
you
You didn't
see,
complain. You didn't
and it doesn't
complain.
come from the fans. It always doesn't come
It's
from
from
the
outside.
fans.
Yeah, that's what we are saying.
It's right.
We are not complaining. We the
myself-
Atletico fans, we are not
myself-
complaining. Alesi.
Two idiots.
Always from the outside.
and myself, I've been go and check my tweets. Just go and type in.
Oh, I know you. Don't worry.
Atletico.
You are in my
There's
bookmarks.
been many times I'm saying, why is this guy still coach? And I take my eyes off the team.
By
And-
the end of the season,
No,
I
not
bookmark
even
one
the
of
end
the
of the season.
the target up.
No. The time he defend Ten Hag, but he say make we sack Mr. Simeone. Where
I
I
did the high.
bookmark the thing. I bookmark the thing. Say this guy, I will catch
So,
up.
but like a certain member of parliament somewhere, I'm not too shy of saying I apologize.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Every week, he commits a blunder, another week, and the same week he
I'm
apologizes.
sorry. Can we move
If you
on?
know, you know. Can we go?
I'm sorry.
Honorable member, withdraw. Honorable member,
I want
You
to withdraw.
capriciously. I will not withdraw.
I want to withdraw.
I will withdraw.
honorable member,
I want to withdraw.
withdraw.
I want to withdraw.
Withdraw.
I want to
Honorable
withdraw.
member, you don't have the floor.
To show you.
To show you that I'm the chairman of the committee.
This is your last question.
And on that note, Mr. Chairman would want to walk out.
You don't have the floor.
Anyway,
Hard
so
guys.
you see, you have,
Honorable member, sit down.
it shouldn't be so hard for you to apologize.
Yeah.
I mean, when you I took my eyes off them this season. Then I saw
16
Atletico
matches
had
in
gone a certain number of games
What,
without
16
No
games
competitions.
without losing.
No.
And he had won
Wins in a row.
winning streak.
Yeah, we didn't
16
draw.
game winning streak. I mean that tells you.
That was
So I'm like,
ridiculous.
what? And that's Simeone for you. But you always meet their nemesis in the Champions League in Real Madrid, and that makes it always difficult for them. So as to whether this is the opportunity for them to make an advancement ahead of Real Madrid, that would be very difficult to call. I mean, anytime if Madrid is down 4-0, never count them out. Never think that you have an edge over them. Never think you have a crowd at your home grounds that gives you some level of an advantage, because they always find
Never
a way.
know.
Madrid always know how to do it. Picking their moment.
This is Pep Guardiola.
No, you see, anytime, and that's why when we talk about the soon, because I'm part of the soon brigade.
We'll get to another soon.
You think there's a spirit behind Real?
See, never deny that. I mean, it has. You see, this is what in research will tell you that there's been so many hypotheses, and we have been unable to disprove the hypothesis on many occasions. And even if you've been able to disprove it, the confidence level in research, when it's 99%, that 1% I'll attribute it to Pep Guardiola. They were near flawless. So that's just 1%. But 99%, the soon always works. So there is absolutely no
But
way
say,
you go, yes,
say,
my student.
a quick one. You see, when Real Madrid's comebacks happen, think about it. PSG, second leg was Bernabeu.
Yeah.
Bayern last season, second leg was Bernabeu. Chelsea, second leg was Bernabeu.
Mhm.
It's always the second leg at
At the
Bernabeu.
Bernabeu.
Man City, second leg was
Mhm.
Bernabeu. This time, you are coming to the one
But they are going with an advantage.
Mhm.
a slim advantage.
Mm.
So, in fact, let me make this bold statement. I'm saying that it will be tough.
Yeah.
But next Wednesday by 10 p.m. Atleti will do it.
But I
Where do
seriously-
you stand?
I seriously doubt if Atletico will be able to do it. I mean, the moment they allowed Madrid into the game by scoring that goal, you knew. Yes, Madrid are going in with a very difficult position, but you know that they still, even with that slight advantage, they always have it. Even when they were going in, even if they were going in with a 1-1 draw, I would still take Madrid to go in there to be able to qualify because they have it in them and they know how to do it. It's about moment. They know how to pick
See,
it.
let me tell you something. This game,
Mhm.
is set for Madrid.
That's the confidence there.
See, look, two things. I've said before, Madrid, they are the most sensible team on earth. They know they are Madrid. They are Los Blancos. They are they are the best team. But they also have the sense and the humility to know when to not open and play and sit back and defend. And in the same game, they know the moment they have to be dangerous. This game, they don't have to win.
They just have to qualify.
What they just have to make sure they are not losing.
Mhm.
Madrid won't go to Metropolitano and go and try and win the game. Like they are too sensible for that. This no Man
I
City.
mean, you are going in with an advantage.
It's not Man City who are default. But they will open themselves by
Absolutely.
default. They will go and open. Hey,
Absolutely.
Madrid.
So,
They'll go there.
so thank you. One thing that goes for Madrid has to do with the characters involved.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't look at that team and shy away from the characters that Atletico will be coming up against. Say whatever you want to say. Oh, Mbappe didn't have a good first leg.
Okili, they will respect him.
Uh-huh.
Give
He's the-
sets-
he's the
oh,
best.
the game sets too much.
Vinny didn't have
We
a
don't
good-
like him, but we respect him.
Okay.
The game
Yeah.
sets.
Oh, Rodrigo didn't. Oh, Rodrigo.
He's a
played
lovely
well.
boy. We like him.
Okay.
Belingus is coming back.
Right. Oh, Bellingham was missing this game, right? Or
Yeah, he
was
was suspended.
He was
He's
suspended.
back. He's coming back next Wednesday.
Oh, Bellingham didn't play and all of that. I mean, these are characters, and that's one thing you look out for in teams like Madrid.
Yeah.
The characters involved and how much magic they can create when the going gets tough. I mean, from nowhere, you see some one through ball or one counter attack. Vinny picks it up, and before you realize, some pam two.
See, that's the thing about Real Madrid.
Except for me,
When you need individual to step up, they have so many. Like in this game,
the characters.
the goals were not necessarily. Their individuals have to step up, and they had them.
The characters are there, and when the characters show,
UCL.
and I mean these are characters
You
that
will
are
not get
seen.
characters.
So they changed the anthem to a different anthem. That has no connection with this one. The new one is just a refurbished of the old one. It's the same thing, just some notes be way, some be high, some be low. Until they change the anthem.
Completely.
Oh, completely. People are in trouble.
So let me wind up. Let me
yeah.
wind up. So I mean, these are the key things that I'm looking at. I mean, Madrid as an institution, a big club, the characters involved who can turn the game on its head when the going gets tough, etc., etc. So it's going to be a very difficult time for Simeone. I don't think this is the time they're able to do it over Madrid. I don't have anything. I mean, I've referenced how well they have played over the period and how well they have been able to develop the team. Enfa. So like Sicho has said.
You know, one of the things.
But we'll have to choose one at the end of the day.
Yeah,
It's
that's
too
it.
tough.
That's
Yeah,
it.
We'll have to choose one.
You know, it's interesting that you
Oh,
mentioned.
but you know, you see, you look at the case face. See, he knows in his heart.
No, you see.
It is his head that is
Relax,
free, but
relax.
his heart.
No, genuinely, if we had to choose, I'll tell my coach that let's leave the Champions League
And focus.
and focus on the league. You understand? But the Champions League too, if we beat Real Madrid, it's done. Atletico will win it today. Because the Barca on the other side, no, this season own to me.
So he goes score slot or something.
You know, one of the things that I read about back in the day, I think this was around like 2016 when I was still in Kumasi, when the whole issue of like Real Madrid soon came around. Then I went to read about the actual myth of Juanito Gomez. The one Juanito Gomez called, and Real Madrid have a whole song called Espirito de Juanito. The spirit of
Juanito.
And yes, Juanito.
Yeah.
So something like that actually exists. And it's a myth, and Real Madrid fans have done it, and it looks like it's working for them. So even though, because matters of spirituality, you can't prove whether that's the reason the comebacks are happening.
Yeah.
But they keep doing it.
They
keep getting the
and
results.
it's inexplicable.
And the story, it goes, you were going to say.
I mean, sometimes when we talk about the spirit, don't think about so much of the metaphysics.
Yes.
Right?
Is it the inexplicable happenings?
It's in the Catholic doctrine, we have something called the mysteries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? It's very difficult. You may get it, like you see football ongoing.
Yeah.
But there is this, Jose Mourinho will say, mystique
Mm-hmm.
around the way things go up. That's why I talk about those moments. I mean, it always won't go your way.
Yeah.
But you look at that, and these moments come from players that have built a certain. Let's give an example. There is a very famous organization, right? And they are noted for something great, right? Now you're an outsider, you've been employed into the organization. The moment you walk into that space, there is something that comes over you that gives you a certain
confidence, swag,
a certain belief.
Actually, you've not even gone too far. People give examples of schools like Preset.
That's
They don't do a lot of the teaching there. But when you walk in there, there's a certain level of expectation,
it just
a minimal level of expectation on you, the student, to uphold the integrity of that school to a certain level. There's a reputation that you must not fall below. And I think that's exactly what
and
you're
the
talking about.
effect that reputation has on your competitors.
Exactly.
So they are constantly
Exactly.
thinking about
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
But the issue of the one Juanito Gomez story is that he famously played for Real Madrid in the 80s and was during the period he played for Real Madrid. Well, Real Madrid were involved in 15 famous comebacks in European competitions, and they all started in the 80s season against Celtic. They trailed 2-0 from first leg game. Juanito, bam, bam. The 85 against Mönchengladbach, they trailed 5-1. Came back home, 4 goals. They won. And in that period, there were 15 matches during his time at Real Madrid where Real Madrid trailed, needed a comeback, and Juanito was instrumental. Didn't always necessarily score all the goals, but he was key. He was involved in every single one of those.
So the Cristiano of that
Cristiano,
era.
So that
15. And
that's
he
an
wore the
individual.
number 7 jersey as well. He came after this.
So that's an individual who has been overtaken by the spirit.
Yeah. And then, but the issue, the story goes that Juanito was an enigma, quite a character, controversial figure. So he didn't last long. He died in a car accident at the age of 37. And the Real Madrid fans, every 70 minutes, they would sing a song and then to evoke his spirit and celebrate him, sort of. So it became some sort of a ritual for the Real Madrid fans that every time you come to the Bernabeu or they go away needing a comeback,
And they invoke
in the 70th minute, they would invoke the spirit, Espirito de Juanito. They start singing in the 7th minute, and once that starts, the comeback is on.
Thanks.
And whether it's working or it doesn't, or whether the singing and the evocation is why they are getting the comeback remains to be seen. But they do it and they get the
when Rodrigo was scoring those 2 goals. Let me tell you something.
No, there's a spirit of Juanito.
Let me tell you something briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Champions League and Real. You see what Florentino Perez wants to do?
Mm-hmm.
And break away to the league, like the new league. If they go to Europa Super League, with what Florentino Perez is doing, all the heckling, the way he's standing in front of it, Madrid will do the same. When the Champions League was about to start by French football, it needed Real Madrid. At that time, it was supposed by all of Europe. In fact, head of states, and that time they were dictators across the world. Head of states came and said that no, it's a breakaway league that will weaken La Liga, that will weaken English football, weaken German football. Let's know the teams come together and play that thing. It was a foreign idea to them, like the way the Super League is. So. You know what happened? There was an order by the then King Franco, the dictator of Spain.
Yes. Remember that? General Franco.
The president of Real Madrid was to travel to France for the meeting on the Champions League shouldn't go. That guy's name, the Real Madrid president at the time's name, was Santiago Bernabeu.
Yes.
Santiago Bernabeu broke the command of General Franco, traveled to France, rigged his life for the formation of this competition.
He didn't do it quite.
Even the gods of football are rewarding the club. It comes to football was tacticals. When you watch it,
it's a European football reality. Whether you like it or yes, they will always be. Anyway,
but you see, at the heart of all of these,
Juan Gomez, may he so rest in peace. Right? He was famously banned for 5 years from European football. You know why he said?
You want to punch someone?
Luther Matthäus. Don't punch him. Step up for some match inside. Against where the man of 5 years. Remember, receive finance on money.
Another soon game in this Champions League. I tell you, they were Leverkusen, if they face Bayern anywhere, they will finish something.
Yeah.
But the Champions League,
actually, it be somewhere.
That's the thing.
Company sad this season. Champions League.
So it's this, again the spirit. It's the
aura. Have you heard some before? A German club will kick Bayern Munich
out of the Champions League.
Unheard of. Speaking of spiritual performances, Liverpool, my brothers.
Smash.
I didn't understand. The numbers didn't make sense.
This game, I'll talk about it. As the coach the team for Twitter. Allisson can't open that Twitter. But Twitter fits no way. Film no way. Do the change no way. But they become 3 billion.
27 shots at goal for PSG. Only 2 from Liverpool. Allisson made 9 saves. That is the most saves by a Liverpool goalkeeper in Champions League history.
That's like 5 big saves.
Yeah.
And 5 of them were massive saves. PSG had not lost a game in 22 games. And you know how many victories were in those 22 game round?
21.
19.
Damn.
You get it?
Damn.
So they were flying. Both teams came to the game with a 13-point lead in the league.
Quick one, eh? It was
But
Wednesday.
we have to give Campos credit though. How he's transformed this.
It's not Campus.
He has a role
give
to
him the
play.
credit. I mean,
Can't
there's
just
absolutely no way. I mean,
There's no coach in the world who can do what Enrique is doing
No,
with
I'm
this
coming.
team.
I'm
It's not
coming.
possible. It's
You
only
see,
Enrique.
we
You
get
see,
you,
we're
but
talking about sporting project. Now, when PSG had that issue of having what Nasser Al Khalifi would describe as blink blink.
Yeah.
I mean, the star players. They had to
Bloated wage bill.
bloated wage bill and all of
Superstars.
that. Now, they had to find a way to restructure. He says, let's move away from the blink blink. Let us find a very good sporting structure. And
build a sustainable project.
exactly. And doing that requires not just buying players, but having someone to spearhead the process for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's not look at the sporting projects starting with the coach. Someone came in, had a vision, and felt that this is how we want to play.
And this is even the coach that can help us.
Exactly. And this is the coach that can help us. And this is the kind of recruitment we need to be able to fit that. So there is
That's what
no
I'm
way.
talking about. Not
That's
the,
what I'm not.
Wait,
That's
not
why
the-
the reason I'm saying it's not him is he's made. See, it is about 80% Louis Enrique, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
There've been big signings, like plenty money signings for Louis Enrique, or from the technical director. And Enrique has said that I won't use them.
Yeah.
He doesn't want Gonzalo Ramos. He kicked out.
Money.
He kicked out Colomwani. He wasn't the side. He kicked out. Asensio has gone on loan. Milan Skriniar barely kicked the ball under him, but Milan Skriniar came in as
Bugatti.
Ugarte. He sent him away. Those were the projects that Campus was doing.
So the players that came in, who brought them in?
No. It was Enrique. So Enrique, Vitinha, wait. He will sign them. I'm saying that Enrique's ability to tell you that the players you Campus you sign them. They are big. The pressure on me to play them. But I won't play them. It's massive on the coach. Look, many coaches would have. Enrique is the coach who started playing without a striker in that PSG team, even though they had Colomwani. a French striker in France, in Paris. He wasn't playing. Gonzalo Ramos, one of the hottest prospects in European football at the time he came to the club. He said, I won't play him. Forget, he won't play. In the midfield, one is Emery. There's pressure on Enrique to play that boy. He said, no, Vitinha and João Neves. Bring me João Neves. Zaire Emery will learn. He won't play. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that
you have a point.
But ultimately, there is no way Enrique gets bigger praise than Ocampos, because it's not just a question of, you see, when the manager says, I don't want this player, I won't play this player, but still has enough quality to build from. Someone must have done a recruitment that has so much quality that even in the midst of the confusion of this player has to go, if you shut yourself out of the noise, there is still enough quality for you to conduct that surgical operation. And you see, beyond the signings, you also have to look at the squad rebuild and its implications on the club's wage bill and even the average age of the team. Everybody agreed that PSG needed to move on from the whole Mbappe and the bling, whatever. But in doing that, what was the situation or the condition of the club? The signings that PSG have made now, if they need anything to take them to the next level, it will probably be one or two players. Yeah. Maybe a goalkeeper and a match winner in the final third of the pitch.
The signings that Luis Campos, the signings that Enrique, since he came to the club, has been insistent on getting to the club, is very different from the signing that Campos were making. And I've laid them out. I'm telling you that when Enrique came to the club...
Campos joined PSG in 2022.
Yes.
List down the players who have joined since then.
No, hang on. I'm saying that, and when...
So which ones are not the Campos signings?
You know me, you bring Messi.
Wait.
You bring Messi.
Which ones are not the... But that goes beyond him.
Wait,
which ones... By the same token, if you can say that these were Luis Enrique signings, then we can equally say that these ones were not from Ocampos.
Let's do a separation.
That's why I asked you the question. Who brought them in?
No, wait. Let's do a separation. Before Enrique came to the club,
yes,
the signings that Luis Campos was making, like 50% of them are not playing in his team. Since Enrique came to the club, the important players that are playing in this team were hampered by the coach. Of course, he won't pay the check. Of course, he will lead the negotiation. But he is telling you for my project, and that is why he didn't even take the Chelsea job. Because Chelsea, they were going to tell him who they were going to bring in.
Well, I disagree with the position. Because I disagree with the position that you've taken, that for the players that is working for him, he brought them in. But I mean, you see, you can't convince me that a player like João Neves was just a handpick for Enrique and had no hand of Ocampos in there.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm saying that Enrique has a big part.
Do you know why I even lean towards what Sicho is saying? The season before, PSG had broken the bank per their new structure to buy Ugarte.
Yes.
And the manager said he will not use it.
Yes.
There's no way
he didn't use it.
They would pay that money for João Neves if Enrique hadn't given it.
And you know what? They have that luxury now to be able to even put if the players don't work. Have you seen the value?
Hold on a minute. PSG's best players today were all signed under Ocampos from Vitinha. Nuno Mendes. João Neves.
But you don't get it. You don't get it. You see, they are making a mixture. It's timelines. Ocampos has been there since 2022, which is 3 years.
Yes.
Enrique has been there for the last 2 years. Or last season was the start. This is the second season. I'm saying that.
Yeah, but 3 of those predates Enrique. Nuno Mendes, Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz all came before him.
Oh, but wait. Vitinha is playing well, no problem. Fabian Ruiz hasn't been a starter in his team, in real Enrique's team. That's not because he's not a good player. He's a good player.
Oh, but he's been one of the best players at the club since then.
No, I'm saying that. In real Enrique's team, he doesn't play enough. Fair enough. He doesn't play. If you want PSG, he doesn't.
Enrique takes his credit. Campos takes his credit. Bottom line is...
the thing is confusing me because what has he done differently from what? What has he done? league, they always win the league cup. They always win the league cup.
No,
so
I think
what
it's
does that?
just
No, they are playing a lot better.
Also, even
A lot
yeah.
better too. Oh, how is a lot better impacting what they are doing? I don't understand.
You mean for Enrique?
Enrique, you play the ball,
So
Soto score, you they give you pass.
based on results.
I don't see anything.
I mean, in terms of
and you have Dortmund in
where
a
they
two-legged
stand-
encounter, you go and
No,
lose.
I think
You play on the ball against Liverpool, you go and lose. Why are we giving him
I think the
fans?
other credit is that you say something like they always win the league. All the years they were winning the league, they were winning with much bigger superstars that he has now.
Which is more difficult to coach.
Yes, but still
And
enough
like,
quality.
you remember
But that's
that?
still a lot of quality.
Do you remember when Bakula came through? He said he won't play Mbappe in that position. Mbappe said you won't
Yeah,
play
so
number 9.
that's the
He
thing.
told Mbappe you
He's
play 9
fighting-
or you won't play.
Yeah, he's fighting.
Everything on there be different
he's
level.
fighting
No, be
with a team
the
that
guy
has-
that guy don't
Yeah,
respect
he's
the
fighting
body.
with a team
My
that has
issue
a
is,
lot
why are
less
we
quality
giving
compared
credit
to the teams
when-
that existed before him.
What are we
But
giving
bottom
credit
line,
for?
Guys, let's talk about the Liverpool game.
Yeah.
I want to start that one with Sicho because Sicho had a lot to say on Twitter. And the moment he tweeted, 2 seconds after he tweeted that the game was perfectly set for
3 minutes, 3
Elliot.
minutes. 3 minutes.
Elliot comes
Enough time
on,
for slots.
41 seconds or so later, bam,
Bah.
he scores a winner with his first touch. But PSG did a lot of things right. And Virgil van Dijk even said it himself. He said they are a world-class team. So I did credit to Luis Enrique. He said, hey, keep quiet over there.
No, but
He
you
said
confused.
PSG were
You for
world-class.
Chelsea, you played on the one
And
score,
he
you are
said,
losing
in
his world
fact,
class.
so he even said that Liverpool were disappointed in the way they play because they certainly want to play better, but PSG just made it impossible for them to play better. Having said that, credit obviously to Allisson, but again, I still don't understand how PSG ended up losing that match. Was that the winning goal? Was that poor penalty? Was it a case of a poor goalkeeping? Was it just a case of them not taking their chances on the other end? Or was it a case of Allisson being brilliant? What was it?
It's a combination of everything you said. Yeah, I think Elliot's goal was poor goalkeeper. I think it was in the game and in the form in which Allisson had. If it was towards Allisson, he makes that save, like in the form in which he was and the way he was playing in the game. And I think that once Donnarumma got a hand to it, should have been a stronger hand. Because he got there. It's not like he was late to it. He actually got there. He didn't apply the hand enough. It wasn't a strong hand. And the ball in the end went to the back of the back. That has always been the downside of Donnarumma's game. He doesn't go down quickly enough.
Because of the height.
Largely also because of
Center of gravity.
yeah, but we've seen a keeper like Thibaut Courtois. He's also a huge man, but he goes.
Manuel Neuer.
Say again.
Manuel Neuer.
Manuel Neuer. That's the same. Like we've seen, Van der Sar was greater.
Joe Hart.
It's one of the things. He's not agile enough.
I mean, it's generally
in
center of gravity for tall people.
The truth is,
Well, if you never knew.
The truth is that- the truth is that Oyobolo.
Oh, I think it's a big lad.
Oyobolo goalkeeper.
I don't think so. I think he's got a very. I think he's muscular.
He's a huge guy.
He's muscular,
He's a
but
huge guy.
but he's not. I don't think it's just the downside of his game. And we've seen some short goalkeepers who also have like low reflexes on goal. That's a matter. Onana, you know, but you know if you get down quick.
Onana is average height. He's not short.
But you know if you get
He
down
be
quick.
short for goalkeeper, he be short.
You know if you get down quick. But so I
But
thought
the
it
point
was
is that
supposed to.
someone like Courtois is even taller than.
No, for Donnarumma.
But,
Yeah.
but I mean, generally, tall people have high center of gravity. I mean, I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. I mean, but
Yeah, but
keepers
for
who have
goalkeeper,
trained
that
themselves
can-
to be able to
yes.
get down.
Yeah, you need
I
to.
mean-
Because we mentioned it. Talk about better nowhere and everything. And Luis Enrique has hinted that Donnarumma is not a kind of goalkeeper. He's actually gone on to hint that it impedes the way he wants to play. But he's had to make do with him, and he said it. Like he was a player, he came to be all of that. But on the game, I don't blame PSG. I don't blame Luis Enrique. It's one
I
of
did
those.
everything right.
No, they did everything. See, and even for the chances they created and took, these are not chances I'm going to call missed chances. I'm going to call them big saves from the goalkeeper Allisson. Like it's think of the Liverpool and Real Madrid final, Courtois against Mane and Salah. On that night, Liverpool didn't miss chances.
So you mean the 22 final?
Yes, Liverpool didn't miss chances. Courtois was just unplayable. And that was Alisson from
The
from
one
Champions
save that
League
I
game.
felt was
Salah
so
one.
impossible. The Mane one.
The man one
The
off
Mane
the
one.
post
He
and
had
onto the
no
post.
business.
Yes,
The Mane
and even the
one.
Salah one.
was a Salah
The one
one.
Salah dropped and
The
then
tight control,
yes,
down,
down.
right
That
I mean,
was
the
footed
right
shot.
footed shot.
that was also
Ah,
crazy.
Distance and the power.
The Mane one-
It's just the Mane one.
The Mane one, it looked like it took him by surprise.
Yes, it
But
went through
that was the
bodies
thing.
as
It
well.
went through.
You see, and you see, so it was that kind of game for Allisson and PSG. So PSG players will sit back and look at the channel and be like, what more should they have done? Because that gave Aristella a chance.
Hey,
plays it into the near post. Like it beats 9 out of 10. It beats top goal. Like it beats.
It was the best save on the night because of the deflection.
Yeah, no, it was massive.
Like-
it really was. Like it was massive. And so PSG came up against a world-class goalkeeper who was having a world-class game. You don't beat that. Like you don't beat it. So I don't blame PSG. I don't blame Enrique. His game plan was superb. The way they executed was superb. The one thing that was lacking was getting around Allisson, who proved to be unbeatable on the night. So it was just it's like an unlucky day for PSG. But for Liverpool, they had a very bad game.
They really did. They
They really had a very
They had zero XG.
Yeah, they had
in the first half.
Yeah, they had a very bad game, and that was because fans.
Even the goal that they scored,
Yeah.
I think it was their first
And Salah
shot
had
on
a
target.
stinker.
They had a terrible game. Good. Now, in having that bad game, it was largely because after the second third, or let me push it to the final, in the final third, they had tons of opportunities to cut open PSG because the game was incredibly open. PSG, we are praising PSG for playing well in that game. But against a more clinical opponent, even if they sat as deep as Liverpool sat, PSG would have suffered. Because the openings were there. And at some point, I thought that it suited Liverpool. Because of the bodies they had going forward in Diaz, Salah, Szoboszlai, and Jota. The only downside for Klopp's team was... Slot's team was... Asset Klopp.
Yes.
The only downside for Slot's team was his front men, when they had the opportunities, they were all bad in decision making, starting from Mohamed Salah, then to Diaz, then to Jota. So they were defending. They were under the pressure, but they had the opportunities to get in behind them. Like PSG could have played the way they played, but Liverpool, had they taken those opportunities, not like the chances, but the openings, had they make the best of the movement and the passing, they could have finished this game by like 3 goals to 0.
There was one moment where I think there were 2 Liverpool players and Salah just hit the
Salah to Diaz.
It was
and
so
Salah
bad.
to Nunes, and he played some bad pass. Szoboszlai miscontrols some ball to set them off. And this is why I thought this game was so poised for Elliott. One, because of the spaces that Liverpool were having, but they couldn't make the most of. Elliott, in my opinion, is one of the best players on the ball. Like when he has the ball, it's so difficult to take it off him.
it's direct.
And his pass selections are simple but effective. He doesn't overthink it. He's not looking for the cute one. He's playing the best possible pass. And he's quick, and Danny mentioned it, purposeful and direct. So with the openings that Liverpool were having, but Salah was fluffing, I thought that if you had Elliott in the game, with the way he's able to take care of the ball, and the way he's able to pick the obvious, like the best passes and opportunities, and also the end product to his game with goal scoring and assists, I thought that with those places, Elliott was going to be good. And the other thing too is, if there's no Salah playing down wide, Nuno Mendes will do what Hakimi was doing. He will be emboldened to go. So if you look at the goal, both Hakimi and Nuno Mendes were out of the picture. Because at the time the goal came, Salah had come off. With Salah going off, PSG were looking for the first goal. Like it was very quick. Nuno Mendes, throughout the whole game, Nuno Mendes, even though he was pushing forward, he was mindful almost every time that Liverpool had the ball. He's getting close to Mo Salah. My thinking was, if it is Elliott, if it's any other player, Nuno Mendes takes more risk going forward than staying with the player. So I'm thinking that Elliott gets more space to enjoy.
Okay.
And now look at how Elliott arrives into the box. That is his game. He's one of those players that you never see coming. I don't know if it's because of his stature. Oh, Nunes, brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of his stature or the way he plays. Like, he's one of those players that you never see coming when he's arriving in the box. And I had this conversation with Danny months ago that for me, one of the most important players for the second half of the season for Liverpool would be Elliott when he's back fit. Because of the way Slot plays and because of his own personal abilities. So I just thought, with the way the spaces were there for Liverpool and how Salah and Co were fluffing it, if Elliott comes in with his ability on the ball and the way he takes care of the ball, he could be devastating for PSG. Then the manager reads my tweet. Somebody reads the tweet from the stands, shouts to the assistant,
Slotto!
goes to Slot and says, Slot! Tito says that this game is poised for Elliott. So, are you sure? Let me see. They show you the tweet. He calls Elliott. Elliott undresses, goes. Elliott scores. Slot, before the game ends, sends me a message that, thank you, boss. I said, you're my guy. You're my guy. No problem, fam. No problem. So, yeah. So, Slot's ready to
What does this actually? What does this mean for the second leg? Because clearly Liverpool can't play like that
When you
in that second leg. If they do, because of what
Anfield.
Allisson said that was his best game in the Liverpool jersey. It's very rare that you have 2 back-to-back best games of your career.
Yeah.
What happens now in that second leg?
I think the tie is just as open. I'd actually back PSG to qualify.
Riddle me.
The performance that they put up, there's nothing PSG could have done more. If you play that game 10 out of 10 times,
You win.
PSG win that game, and by a wide margin. It's not even close. Because, look, before the game, and every time I try to look at the game and its objectives based on what the coach says he wants to do for this game. Before the game, Slot had spoken about how not playing in midweek was giving them extra days and 1 whole week to prepare for this game. And he mentioned that it was important to put together a big performance and play well. And he said, not only because of the significance of the game, but also because they have to show PSG that respect. And he mentioned all of the things that PSG, which were quite true. I was looking at the numbers and everything they've been doing it's crazy. They've scored about 45 goals since that game against Man City. That is an average of 3 goals per game in the last 13 games or so. And it's crazy. So when I was I was on commentary on Hits FM, and in my pre-game notes, my thinking was that the coach says they are coming here to put on a good performance. And that does not always mean they are coming to attack and dominate. So if it says that they want to come and sit deep and defend, what are the metrics for measuring a defensive performance? Which is their capacity to limit their opponents, their chances to stop the team's best combinations as well, and to stop the team's best players from being involved. So those are the things that will show whether Slot's ideas in a defensive sense had worked. In the first 20 minutes, Dembele, he killed Robertson.
Yeah.
Anybody at all who confront, he killed them. On the other side, Bakula, same effect. Even the
It's so hard to defend
look,
against, eh?
Victor Varaskelia,
When he switches
the ease with which Varaskelia was getting shots off, and for me, I was like, no, they are killing these people, because one of the things that Slot in his pre-match prep would have done is to look at how to cut the supplies from those players, how to stop Dembele and those players from getting into those danger zones, right? Mm-hmm. So we as fans, you probably say that, Dembele, when he get onto the end of the chance, his reputation on the big games is that he may not score. But the coach's thinking will be how to stop that chance from even happening. So when they sit deep, and they sit as deep as they did, one of the reasons is that you will at least protect your penalty box. But when you do, and you still concede 27 shots, that is a problem. I mean, those were Ten Hag numbers. Like the times when
I'll give you something that'll blow your mind. 27 shots to 2 is the biggest
margin
variance between 2 teams in a single Champions League game since 2004.
Margin.
In terms of shots.
So this was a disaster for all intents and purposes.
No single team has ever, since 2004, outperformed the other one in the same game by 25 shots.
And think of it this way. There have been very poor teams in the Champions League.
Exactly.
In that period.
Yeah. And you see,
Even
not
Madrid up well.
Apple Nicosia.
You can't have it. Not responsible.
And no team.
On the one Messi scored 5.
No, I was Leverkusen.
Leverkusen.
They want to come and qualify. They should do away.
No team in their prep for the game is going to account for this level of goalkeeping. Maybe 1 or 2 freak saves, fair enough. But 9. Look, and when people say that, but a lot of those were shots from long distance, those were high quality shots from very good positions.
Yeah. Like Danny said, 5 were big saves.
Big saves. And Slot himself admitted it. And for me, I look back at the game.
Player himself said that's his best game in the Liverpool.
Look,
Even there were some saves he made that you would think that it's not bad. The way he collected the ball to take pressure on the team, like actually catching them, like, and there was someone that he was scooping, like they'll cross the ball.
The cross from Hakimi.
He'll scoop it into the end.
Because if he misses that, simple tap info. So 1v1 save, mid shots from deflector saves, the free kicks, fingertips. Look, this for me is the best goalkeeping performance I've seen in the Champions League. because there was no breathing space. Like there was no
They just kept coming.
They just kept coming.
To have 27 shots in the game,
Look,
means that there was a shot every 3 minutes.
Every 3 minutes, like those. Think of it in that manner. Look, even with the chances that Liverpool were getting, there was a reason. When I saw the Sijo tweet, I understood it, and I even understand it better now that he's explaining. But the reason I was so sure that no matter what Slot was doing, they were not going to be able to create those chances. One, for the Liverpool players, they were incredibly tired. And you see, the rates at which they were misplacing some of those passes on the counter breaks is so unlike them. It's a sort of thing that happens to players when, Charlie, they've given everything and they spend so much time chasing the ball. So by the time they had the ball, a lot of them were so tired that simple passes that under normal, Luis Diaz, he had a couple of turnovers on that right side. Sometimes he didn't even need to release the ball. He was in a hurry because he was tired. So he's in a hurry to just let go of the ball. If he takes another touch and then relaxes, perhaps he sees that space and then plays that pass. So I was like, no, this is it. This is the one game where there is nothing Liverpool could do about it. Even for the goal that was scored. Who would have thought that Marquinhos was going to make that mistake in the way he approached it? Every defender as experienced as Marquinhos is not going to allow you to lean on him. Worst case scenario, they will foul you. There's no way you do this to Sergio Ramos. There's no way you do this to John Terry, Van Dijk. It is not happening because they know that, and more often than not, when that long ball is coming, they check their surroundings and they know what options that player has and what options they have. So in his mind, he probably should have known that the moment Darwin Núñez brings the ball down, or even any clean contact from Darwin Núñez, PSG would have been in trouble. So I don't think anyone would have even prepared for or expected that sort of mistake in Marquinhos. It's one of those things that is like 1 in a million that you will not expect from. Make a clumsy mistake there. Commit that foul there. Commit that foul there and let play stop. Allow the team to breathe. So this was as good as they have been. And for a team like PSG, they needed this result, not just the performance, to give credibility to the growth that they have experienced. But for our own biases about how it is FC bling blinks and all of the things that we don't like about them, after making one Champions League final, a semi-final, a quarter-final in 4 of the last 5 seasons, the narrative about PSG would have been that this is a team that is having sustained growth. And just as it is for a lot of the first-time winners in the Champions League, the process of growth requires repetitive disappointment, and would have said that at a point, those disappointments will build you up. We said the same for Chelsea. We said the same for literally every team that toiled to win the Champions League in the modern era, Man City, because it is true. Because the competition is that difficult. PSG is about the only team where that growth doesn't count because there are so many distractions around the team. Are they favorites for this one? I don't think so.
But you think they will knock out Liverpool?
I think they will.
Okay.
And I think...
Let me ask you a question. Do you think Liverpool play as bad as they did in Paris?
No, absolutely not.
So how does PSG get past them?
Absolutely
PSG won't be as good as they were in Paris at Anfield.
Exactly.
So how do they get past Liverpool?
I think they can manage this game better than any other previous PSG team. I think they are better prepared for this kind of opposition than any other previous PSG team.
But technically gifted for you.
How many Champions League titles has Man United?
3.
99, 2008.
66. Yeah.
Johnson. That final against Benfica.
Yeah.
But why do you ask?
1966.
Yeah.
Why
Look, the final thing I'm going to say about the PSG team is this. If there was one night where they needed to show the world that they are an elite team, especially the midfield for me, it was last night. That midfield they have now, for all intents and purposes, is the best in Europe.
Do you mean the midfield?
Yeah, I just needed one more. I just needed one more big game.
Coach no go feel this midfield.
I just needed one more big game.
They don't have physicality and they can't be combative.
Oh, that's what the tactical says.
They are not the best in Europe.
But the technical ability.
Make I ask you a question. Did you watch PSG when they faced Arsenal?
Yeah,
It was a sad game.
But we saw Arsenal against West Ham.
Yeah.
We saw Arsenal against West Ham.
Yeah.
Danny, you would agree
Yeah.
that around that time.
No, you see,
You see the physicality has not taken the
thank you. That's what I'm saying. You can't say they are the best in Europe. Maybe yesterday I just said it to me, and I told him that if you are saying they are the best, you have to categorize it. Maybe they are the best when it comes to keeping the ball. Because if they meet, we saw them against that. What party and Rice did you was sacked?
They be bad.
Like they be killing they bully them all over the pitch. It wasn't even funny.
Yeah.
But the same party and Rice will go and meet Chouameni, Kamavinga.
Different levels.
You see, there are levels to this thing. There are levels to this
So
thing.
you are admitting that Madrid are qualified? The way you were saying they are going to
No. Don't meet them because
It's hypothetical. It can be that year.
Yeah. See, quick one on the game. Quick
One, please.
The morning of the game, shout out to my friend Andre. Dre called me and he told me that whatever money I have right now, I should put it on a Liverpool win. I said, he's a Liverpool fan. Thick Liverpool fan. I was like, fresh. I'm not going to put my money on your feelings. So forget it. And he said, no. Have you forgotten? Liverpool don't lose my birthday week. It has never happened before. So I said, the thing too is true. Because Liverpool has never lost his birthday week. Like, never. And some way, somehow, Liverpool always play his birthday week. Most often than not, they win. So he said, even if I'm afraid, I should do win or draw. Like, the odds are still heavy. So I should do win or draw. But as for the loss, it's not possible. End of first half, he called me. He said, have you seen? I said, but they are playing you. He said, have they scored? I said, Charlie, the guy, he did talk something.
Espirito Juanito.
75th minute when he sent me picture.
What be the
Dre.
Espirito di Dre.
Charlie, 75th minute, he sent me picture. He make wifey cut on picture. He did watch the match where he drinks Smirnoff like this. He said, they've never lost my. Well, you know, be today you will start. Elliot scored the goal now. He said, I hope you put money on Liverpool.
That's right.
See,
You didn't do it.
I didn't do it. I was too scared. See, Boga, world class. That's the definition of world class. What we saw on Wednesday. Let me explain it to you.
Go on.
You see, world class teams, they build up a certain momentum. Momentum. There's this word I want to use. No, it's not even character. It's
Actually, help me.
Winning mentality. Is a winning mentality.
It's like it's like favor with the gods, Bisa. When you are consistent for a long time, this thing somebody
To build goodwill.
when bad things are happening to you, when you are that bad,
continuous,
it will
like
continue.
Memphis
When you
Law.
are that
It's called
good,
Memphis Law.
When you are playing now, they'll get
There's
penalty
some red
against
card.
them.
There's some red
Let
Let
cards.
me give you a
It is
famous
called
quote that
Memphis Law.
encapsulates.
Memphis Law. When bad things happen,
They keep happening.
So when you flip it to
Anything that can go bad will go bad. Will go bad.
when you flip it to when good things are happening for you, like unexplainable,
Yeah.
like
The
it will
first
just fall in your
The
favor.
Mbappe go against City the first leg. Mbappe was in form coming into the game.
Yeah.
Any other day,
You miss that
Mbappe
chance.
misses that
Because
chance.
he mistimed
But
it.
on that day,
He went inside.
the ball went inside.
Thank you.
Like it's fluke.
It's like this. Winning is like losing in that it can become
A habit.
habitual.
Thank you. So that is what we saw. on Wednesday.
2025.
That's right.
When you're a world class team like this Liverpool team, this is a typical mark of a world class team. The day they didn't play well, the day the team didn't play well, and we always say it when we are talking about certain teams. But the funny thing is that we hardly talk about the goalkeeper. So you say, oh, this team didn't play well, but Messi was on form, or Ronaldo did something, or Vinicius Junior, magic happened,
Or Courtois.
or
That's the
Courtois.
mark of a world class.
Characters are
World
showing
class
up.
players in every
In every
position,
position.
capable of making the
So
difference.
Liverpool didn't have to play well. They were poor. But on the day they were poor, their goalkeeper,
Who is world class?
who is world class, stood tall for them.
Because if he was an average goalkeeper,
Quick.
Oh, nah.
What's my name?
How many goals?
Like 6. See,
that's right. So the world class, it is not the functionality of one person
no.
or one player.
It's a
but more
Yes.
often than not,
It's a team.
It's a team.
It's a teamwork.
we've been tuned to think world class is usually outfield players.
player.
So somebody will do some magic, be there
Like Anthony for Betis.
Like
The
Anthony.
world class can even be the coach doing something.
doing something. But you see, I'll get to the world class coach part.
Thank you.
And he's only world class because he has walked into an institution that has been able to maintain their level. So he walks in And Slot has picked up this Liverpool spirit.
He has.
And you see, the spirit also involved because Slot has never experienced this situation before. Fine or no, you don't enter Champions League matches against where you have to think on the spot and change something. Liverpool were bad, but when you were analyzing the Real Madrid games, when we'll be analyzing on this podcast several times, football is moments. It's not 90 minutes.
Correct.
It's 2 minutes, it's 1 second. That's what will change it.
Moment.
So when PSG's 1 second came, Allisson was there. And
Another
Allisson
second
is
came.
just giving his coach time to think. How can we change this? How can we change this? And he's just giving his team an opportunity to stay in the game. Look, Liverpool could have lost this game 1-0. It would still would have been, that scoreline will still be because of Allisson. And it will give them an opportunity going to Anfield. That's the world class. Allisson had to do his job. And he did it. And then the moment his manager got that text message from C2,
Quick.
because the assistant, all of them were confused.
Yeah.
The changes, nothing was working. And then, they saw the thing from C2.
Arne.
He makes the Elliott change. He changes the game.
And
just
then there
like
was
that.
another sub that set up earlier.
Yes.
Yeah,
If that guy too
Just
wasn't
like that.
on.
And when he brought
Yeah.
in Nunes, the way he used them,
He used him.
He
All
used
of a
them-
sudden,
Exactly.
he used them wide.
Yeah.
And the long balls were going wide,
Wide.
just dragging the team this way.
And then leaving space for
Yeah.
the late runners to. You see, overall, when you look at the game overall, PSG were the better side. But Slot coached the moments better.
Right.
When Slot made that Nunez change, the signs were there. But Enrique didn't react. The signs were there. When Nunez came and he started basically like a wide target man receiving the ball, he was out muscling. Just that. The next pass was poor.
Yeah.
But the situations we were seeing that if the team
And
pick
it brings a more clinical player into the game.
thank you.
Problem.
But I don't want to blame because of how good they were, but I also blame Enrique because that's how that guy is.
Well, he said sometimes football is cruel.
No. Well, it's not cruel. It's about moments. Look, he was so just like everybody else who was watching the game. Even when those signs started manifesting, we were all thinking that PSG were in control of the game, but it wasn't so. Because football, there's a scenario before a chance, before a goal. When the thing sparks once, you need to react. If you see that, let's say, a 3-against-2 has formed, first time, and the player gives a bad pass, don't wait for it to happen again. Because you see, if you are facing Malaga, or you are facing some Betis, you know that the players who have the ball who give that final pass are not as smart as the world-class players.
Yes.
But if you slack and you give that opportunity to Salah again, you give that opportunity to Szoboszlai again, chances that he'll make that first mistake are very thin. So when Nunez came on and the long ball started coming in, yes, PSG were still passing the ball around, still creating opportunities. But Simeone would have reacted. But Enrique should have reacted to that situation. Something should have changed, but he didn't. And that's the thing about the world class. You win even when you are not at your best.
Yes.
That's simple. And Slot was brilliant. Overall, he wasn't. But in Champions League, you don't need to be good over 180 minutes.
No.
You need to be good in the moments. As remember, the 15-time champions have shown us that that's how you win the team. You don't win with, hey, we played better.
And to be fair, the point you're making, support the point you're making. The changes that he made, he didn't make those changes to come and dominate the game.
No.
Or to come and possess more.
No.
He saw the spaces you were talking about. And he made changes to take advantage of those
There's
moments.
something Luis Enrique also did that actually took something out of his team. One of the reasons Liverpool were struggling was because Kvaratskhelia, Barcola, and Dembele. Nobody's a striker.
Yeah.
But all of them, when they've got the ball at their feet, they don't even need an extra run. If you are three, they can dribble.
Yeah.
Then he made a mistake. I think the 78th minute or something, he brought in Gonzalo Ramos.
That was
All of a sudden, Konate and Van Dijk have got a target man to deal with.
Simple.
What that means is
They are extra
Robertson,
bodies. They have support now.
as soon as Ramos came on,
This team.
PSG's attacking potency went down.
Yeah.
Serious issue. And you see, that for me is the difference. That's why at the beginning when you guys were praising Luis and I was sitting there, but I don't understand what you people are praising. Like, to be frank, like I don't get it. You praise something when the person is something different is happening. Something different in a positive light. what we saw, how different is it from PSG when they went to face Madrid and they were leading 2-0 so on aggregate? The one Messi goal missed the penalty first leg. They went to Madrid, they were dominating the game, they had taken the lead, dominate, all of a sudden 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, Benzema score hat-trick, it's over. Like, what's the... We've seen this thing happen now. Like, we've seen the thing happen, sir.
But in this game...
When they are in control, they are actually playing well. They are creating the chances.
That's when they lose.
But when your opponent starts reacting to certain things, and you see, like, another thing on that Darwinian, I'm not talking about the Elliott change. The Darwinian change, no way. Slot didn't make it to react to something. It was a proactive change. So even though his team was down, he could still see that, look, once Allisson is keeping us in, let me help myself.
The openings were there.
The openings were there. So he made that change. And the signs were there. So Enrique being so engrossed by Charlie, the thing is going well. It be like Charlie it left small. Maybe Gonzalo will take some shots, be that will deflect, and Allisson will go see.
Hope and vibes.
But all that time, Slot was thinking. The boys on the bench.
I'm sorry to cut you. At that point, what would you want Enrique to do? I mean, because he had the moment, right? He had the moment where
Allisson was just impossible to beat.
That's the point. So he had the moment where
Charlie, he out coach. He whipped the guy.
No,
I'm just asking the question.
No, he's asking the question.
Point,
like, you make a change.
Because it's like I'm in my groove. I mean, things are moving. It's not like suddenly you have another mind thinking, what is... Because at that point...
Because it's not like they were not getting the chances.
They were getting the chances.
They were making the shots.
And they were stopping the counter breaks.
Okay.
And
how many...
just made it impossible.
They were not really stopping it. Liverpool were misplacing it. See, they were not stopping it.
The counter breaks.
They were not stopping it.
No.
If you notice,
How many times did Raphinha...
Let me learn.
Okay.
Before the Darwinian change, Liverpool they were playing about 3 passes to get into the final, 3 or 4 passes. So it's 1, 2, 3. Then they make a mistake. When Nunez came, they stopped the
long
tick going long. So that's direct. And you see, the issue is the placement of Nunez. He took Nunez wide. Nunez is not the danger man in terms of finishing the chance. But what Nunez was doing was he was dragging the PSG defense to one side and creating space
for late
runners who are good finishers. So it's like he was like a decoy man. So what I was saying was that the way the PSG bodies is like they were afraid of Darwin Nunez. So like one person is going on Nunez, then there's a cover defender. So that cover defender, no, don't let him go. Let him stay with the rest. Because if Darwin Nunez has to do anything, you have to control, beat his man. Darwin Nunez is more likely to fluff the chance than the rest of the guys who are waiting in the box. Like if you are looking at the level of threat,
the potency rate.
Yes, the potency rate. I'd rather have Darwin Nunez control about 10, beat his man, and have to run and think, than to have him control and hit a pass to Elliott or Salah, who is in space, for them to have that comfort in time. That's more dangerous. So that's what I'm talking about, the reaction. And he didn't do that. But that's a funny thing about...
But the question though is that, and I agree with the analogy that you don't allow the sequence to set in, right? But up until the point where Marquinhos makes the mistake of allowing him to lean on him and get the ball, everything that was Nunez...
Marquinhos, I don't call it a mistake.
It's not a mistake.
No, it was.
How was it a mistake?
No, it was.
What was the mistake?
It was because
Who is bigger? Who is stronger?
Who is bigger and stronger?
And I
Nunez won the ball in the air. And when the ball was in front of him.
The first question...
Can I answer? Can I answer?
No, you're asking, you're not answering, you're asking.
No, he asked me a question.
Why he thinks that's a mistake?
He said, why was it a mistake?
Why do you think it's a
he's
mistake?
answering. Go on.
Yes. It's a mistake because the moment he loses the ball,
Who loses the ball?
Marquinhos.
He didn't even have it.
No,
he didn't even have the ball.
he lost the duel. Hold on, I'm saying that.
Yes.
That's why earlier, when I was explaining this, I said for every defender, you have to assess before the ball is a long ball.
Yes.
So you've seen it coming from a mile away.
Both of them have seen it.
You check your surrounding and you know the options the player
What's
has.
he gonna do?
Once you lose it, you didn't win that ball, you foul him. That's it. You foul him.
How can you foul Nunez when he's in front of Nunez?
Foul him.
How can he foul him?
What do you mean? You can.
No.
There are a million options.
You should punch him.
No.
I'm not saying punching.
Look, Nunez.
Because you were touching your elbow.
Elbow, yes, you can.
See, the ball in the air, it was so competitive that Nunez couldn't even get the header he wanted. He was lucky enough to he was control the ball.
Fair enough. Assuming there was no mistake. The question I was asking him. Friends, the question I was asking him also to make a point is that, and I agreed again when he says you don't allow things to recur before. Was it a sequence where the goal that we saw happen, it did not recur? There were no sequences where he won the ball. There was always a free man to his right, and then he ruled the ball there, or he misplaced that pass or anything. That was the one time where it actually clicked. That was the one time where it clicked that the sequence of attack ended. For us to then see, and then with hindsight to have said that perhaps they should have stopped it.
Look, it's the scenario we are talking about. We are not talking about the effectiveness of the scenario. When you see that the mode of attack has changed, they are stopping the interplay before the counter, and at this time are going long to a wide target man. You try and stop it. It's not every time the long ball will be accurate. It's not every time that the target man will control it well and make the pass. But when you see the idea behind the change, you have to counter. It's the idea we are battling with. And the question is, why did Darwin Núñez go and pin himself on Marquinhos? Why was he doing that? Because Marquinhos, duels, he's not the best.
But it's the deepest of their defenders.
But he's not the best. So it is, you see, it is not Marquinhos made a mistake. They found a weak link. That's the coaching.
It's not
they
really
found
a goal from the bench.
A weak link. And they capitalized on it.
Thank you. I mean, I don't want to try to draw. There were other games in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Raphinha, my word. How many goals now in the group? 9?
Yeah.
In the Champions League?
25 goals this season.
That is crazy, ridiculous good. Barca had an early red card, somehow still found a way to win against Benfica. That was a European reality game. And Arsenal.
Chesney's performance, though.
Chesney too, thank you.
These are states you should make.
I mean,
have you watched the second
but
lately?
that's a pensioner.
But Barca Benfica have given us a bit of. I think this is the second game they've played again in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Remember the first time they played in the group stages?
Squad had
It had a lot of.
sitting there for
It had a lot of.
Yes,
a lot
I
of
remember.
drama around,
Yeah.
and
A
so
lot
I
of
wasn't-
free too.
from
How?
Oh, then still them.
There's still who?
How?
Continue.
There's still who? You don't need 4-1. You say there's still who?
I mean, go on.
So I
For scoring
I wasn't
Clear
so
penalties.
surprised. I mean, that's the way Barca came back in that game. I mean, it has some sort of psychological blow to any team that you want to play. I mean, playing against Benfica once again, they would have to get themselves together. So I wasn't so surprised Barca were able to overcome, because even in that game, Barca had a red card. Chesney had a red card, and still went ahead. Even though they were leading, still went ahead to beat them. So I wasn't so surprised with Barca being able to. There is this thing that I don't know. I don't know if you guys have noticed this about football clubs in seasons. I mean, there's a point where they peak, there's a point where they plateau, or there's a dip, and then they sort of rise again. And Barca have been through that, where there were points where your man was scoring 7 goals, 6 goals. It was time for exams.
The children had to write.
So they were able to, have this sustained level of form. They went into a very big dip where they were struggling to win games, and they've been able to find themselves back in form, back on top of La Liga, in a very quote unquote favorable side of the draw. I mean, so it gives them that advantage. It gives them that edge to think that
Barca are a real threat. Though.
they're real threats. I mean, if anyone, I mean, you'll be making a mistake overlooking them. They've got. I mean, look, that touch on Raphinha by Flick. I mean, that's a coach having a direct impact on the player.
The guy's not been playing this favorite position.
Charlie,
You get it.
But his
But you see,
performance.
it's
What a
you see,
season he's having.
You know,
Me,
I
as
know
in
more
this
play past the boy.
thank you.
That-
But the sake of
Today-
this thing,
yeah.
Brandon.
no be true.
Seriously, you know more play past the boy.
Today,
What Raphinha they do?
today, myself and Achu and some other friends, we were talking about Raphinha. I mean, where we met earlier, and what came to mind has to do with some leader coming into an organization, and not that the person shall, but the person is short of something. I mean, you give that person, and now Raphinha is even he's translated that form even in Brazil, where he's playing very well in Brazil as well. So when coaches come,
Wait. The next Brazil call up. They go call Antonio.
then he's in. Not
Sure.
like the-
They call it inside.
Sure.
Oh, player!
He's in. It's not
But Anthony, they don't come out time because of poor form.
It's because of the issue.
The issue where you have like you were playing. Anthony, like you were playing.
They will call us the name.
But to wrap it up on
The man in the no guessing, Anthony.
on that Barca bit, I mean things are going very well. Raphinha is on form, Yamal, and I mean they've got a
Don't
very
mention
good
that
team.
boy's name.
Why? What has he done to you?
See, the boy, he doesn't score goals. We'll finish and we need to have a conversation. Yamal is becoming an entertainer. Like,
But how do you measure the impact he has on games?
He's still not young.
And he's
Are we
still
gonna?
He's 60.
He's not in Mbappe level. It's not.
no, I'm not saying he's Mbappe.
Yeah, but
I'm
he's
not
not
saying
scoring
Mbappe.
crazy numbers at
Champ,
this age.
I'm
but
what
looking
were you
at.
doing when you were 60?
I'm looking at. I was
It's
a
not. It's
baller.
not more 16. Why? Only been 16 for 3 years.
That's shock. No, I'm looking
Why
at.
is it just
I'm
illegal?
looking at.
The league took 21 years for like 10 years.
You are right now. In there, South Korea, they shoot adverts. See, I'm talking
It's
about
like Jay-Z Lingard.
the La Masia talents we've seen attacking La Masia. When Ansu Fati came on
Same
DSM,
vibe.
he was scoring
Yeah.
and giving assists.
The guy Cuenca.
Cuenca.
Charlie, but he like 2 games.
Munier.
His friend,
Christian
Temi.
Ronaldo.
Oh, Christian Teo. He's
Christian
never
Teo.
do you like this.
Rana, he
was with Betis at some point.
Yeah, I see him for Portuguese. But Yamal, no, I'm not saying Yamal is bad. No.
He's a brilliant player.
I'm saying the level of hype they are giving to him.
You
That
have to match
Euros
it.
performance was brilliant because he was like the most creative player in the team. The assist and the chance creation was there.
that one
And
set
some
Man U
important
continue.
goals. But in the look, last season with Barcelona, he's not scoring enough. And he's getting in positions to score.
How many goals has he have this season?
Single.
Dig
I
it.
think he has like,
Is it? In all competitions.
it will be like 5 or
Yeah.
six.
Five.
Yeah, 5.
That's 5 goals and 11 assists.
But that's
You
why
see-
you see.
And that's my issue. Raphinha has 16 assists. So Raphinha, the guy who is like the goal scorer.
The man has also been injured since season, to be fair.
Oh, but you see,
How long?
I mean, see, Danny, we shouldn't just box Raphinha into that goals and assists.
Yamal
Yamal, sorry, Yamal.
So
We shouldn't just
No, no, no.
because that's what I'm saying. Because the argument you are making is he's not assisting, he's not scoring. True or false?
As
What I'm
much.
saying
As
is,
much.
for the level and the trajectory of his career, he needs to start scoring more. That's all I'm saying.
But he's still developing.
No, look, that's true. You don't get my point. The guy is a baller, but Mbappe at that age was
the
backing
mistake.
it with
That's the
numbers.
mistake. That's the mistake.
But Mbappe was an outlier. How many of the game's
But
greats?
Yamal is an outlier.
No, but
It's not an
friends,
average talent.
friends, yes,
Yamal is
but
world-class
I get it. But you see,
There's always that
we need to allow players to grow at their own
Guys,
pace.
we
I
really
think so.
need
I
to
think
wrap
that he's
up
still
this
very
segment.
young. I think he's
Allow
still
him-
very young.
yeah.
And
Doing basketball. I mean,
Let me. So I mean that's it with
Yeah.
Barca. But Arsenal.
Arsenal, there's nothing to say there.
But you know that game.
But that game,
PSV had
the numbers are shock.
PSV
That game for me like 4-3.
PSV had
the first
chances.
chance with the guy blasted.
The guy
No,
blasted.
see, and they had
But this guy
about
Gabriel
3
tried
big
two
chances
body.
in that game. I mean PSV. I mean when you check the XG, it was not so far apart. But Arsenal
We
were
would
very,
like to
very-
congratulate Arsenal.
If PSV had their
Clap for
coach on the
themselves.
pitch, they would have scored goals.
Guys, that's all on our Champions League review. This has been a long one, an hour and a half
But they disgrace him. They don't
of, or an hour and 40
I
minutes
know. No.
of just chatting.
PSV is Peter Bosch.
No.
Like, subscribe, share.
PSV them again. PSV Dortmund.
I hope you
PSV,
enjoyed
when they
it.
lose
We
2-0.
appreciate you
Inter.
being
Fine
here,
note,
always
fine note.
subscribing
Fine
to the
note,
channel.
Then this
Thank
chances
you
like
so
Van
much.
Nistelrooy.
They won't even let me sign out in peace.
PSV game to this.
Honorable member, you don't have the floor. Honorable member, you don't have the floor.
Say, please, I was not talking.
Guys, thank you very much. We're back again with another episode of Mallam Goal. Until then, take care of yourself. Cheers and bye-bye. Thank you.